Hello and greetings, everyone. It is GleeCon, and I am happily back to present to you another episode of Lore of Warcraft. On our last episode, we did some. Uh, we wrapped up the Red Ridge Mountains with our final romp through that zone, barring like if we come across a random side quest. But really, we just turned in some stuff with Maleficent, and then we showed what the journey up to the wetlands would look like if you proceeded from Loch Modan. So we got another zone wrapped up in the pipe. Um, we have also been reading Dark Factions, and we've touched a lot about what that is. We're getting close to the end of that journey, and this is the last of the Dragonflights we're going to discuss today. Last time we discussed the Green Dragonflight, Ysera's realm, and her dragons that have been living in and corrupted by the Emerald Dream, the Emerald Nightmare, and we're going to wrap up with the Red Dragonflight. So stay a while and listen. Okay, an unknown number of dragons make up this flight. They are lawful good. Some of the Red Dragonflight resides at Grim Batal, but red dragons have been sighted in several other locales, such as Mount Hyjal. The location of the majority of the flight is unknown. Grim Batal is sealed off, so I hope they send us a memo or something. Red dragons are the guardians of all life, and they are among the mightiest and noblest of dragons. That doesn't mean they're all nice and fluffy, however. But I have the activities of the Red Dragonflight are mostly secret, but I have a strong feeling some of them are watching us all very closely. Some are at Mount Hyjal and work with the other flights against the Burning Legion's remnants, but that's about all I know. And we definitely have a lot more experience with them by the time you get to retail. The Red Dragonflight was once a dominant force in the world, but Deathwing's betrayal took a heavy toll on them. In more recent years, the Horde enslaved the Red Dragonflight, and thus most Red Dragons harbor an animosity toward orcs to this day. The Red Dragonflight was freed from its captivity by humans and elves, well, one of each, and dwarves, so perhaps they'll think a little better of the Alliance. It's hard to say. I haven't seen or heard almost anything from them since the Battle of Grim Batal. The Red Dragonflight should theoretically count the Alliance among its allies, but we don't know what the dragons are thinking or doing right now. Since the orcs enslaved the Red Dragons in the Second War, it's probably safe to say the Red Dragons aren't fond of the Horde, even if Thrall is clearly a different type of leader than Doomhammer was. Beyond that, the relationship should be pretty obvious. They share the same enemies as the other flights. They definitely don't have any animosity toward the Horde, so it seems as though under Alexstrasza's rule, she separates the previous Horde from Thrall's iteration. I haven't a clue what the structure of the Red Dragonflight is like these days. After the chaos of the Second War, the Red Dragons stopped discussing little details like that. Like the other Dragonflights, the Red Aspect and her consorts are considered the highest-ranking members. Last anyone heard, Coriel Strahz was Alexstrasza's only known surviving consort. That's Krasis, I believe. A few Red Dragons are currently located in Grim Batal, but small groups are everywhere from the wetlands to Hyjal Summit. Beyond those areas, I don't know any large groups of Red Dragons or notable meeting points. Red Dragons are protective of their own, and that includes their few mortal aides. Once a mortal gains the Red Dragonflight's trust, she's treated as nearly an equal. For example, the renowned mage Ronan led the group that rescued Alexstrasza, and if the stories are true, he still interacts with the Dragonflight on a regular basis. I need to track him down and pry a few questions out of the lad, but sadly he's proven just as elusive as the dragons these days. I don't know exactly. I kind of feel like he might be dead now, and that'd be cool if we encountered him in-game. Alright, so the leader is, of course, Alexstrasza, the Lifebinder, the Dragon Queen, the female Red Dragon aspect. The legendary Queen of Dragons, Alexstrasza, has recently gone through hard times. Tortured orc hands. Though freed by mortals and her consort, it's hard to say what kind of shape she must be in after so many years of suffering and watching the Horde use her flight for horrific purposes. Nevertheless, she's ever been a great boon to mortal races, and I foresee her proving her strength again in the not-too-distant future. Coriel Strahz is her male Red Dragon consort. Alexstrasza's last living mate, Coriel Strahz, is over 10,000 years old, and one of the most powerful dragons alive. Rumors indicate that he spent years studying in mortal form in the guise of an archmage of the Kirin Tor, and I wouldn't find that at all difficult to believe. Regardless, he has a strong bond of trust with at least one of the Kirin Tor, the archmage Ronan. And there's Valis Strahz as a male Red Dragon as well, one of the Red Dragon aspect's strongest children. Valis Strahz takes it upon himself to oppose the Black Dragonflight. From what one of his brothers told me at Hyjal, Valis Strahz works on infiltrating Blackrock Spire even now. Sounds like a good plan to me. I just hope he doesn't plan to take on Nefarian alone. That'd be, well, messy. All right, what if you wanted to play as a campaign, a hero of the Red Dragonflight? Well, like other Dragonflights, the Red Flight is secretive and has little to do with any creatures aside from other dragons. PCs of the flight would be kept on a tight leash until he had proven capable of blending into humanoid society. The Red Dragonflight cannot afford for its enemies to discover its secrets. Alex Strauss's flight rewards the faithful well, with gifts varying from favors to items and spells. And here is a couple adventure hooks. A wealthy mage holds a red dragon egg in magic stasis while he is away. A freak accident disrupts the magic and the egg hatches. And here's the second one. Lady Katrana Prester, a Lordaeron noble and Onyxia in disguise, becomes convinced that one or two red dragons are hiding in the royal court of Stormwind disguised as humans. She plots to expose and or assassinate these infiltrators. Okay, so we have another episode in the pipe, 5x5. These Dragonflight ones were not as interesting. I feel like they just took one faction, they broke it into 4 parts, and in doing so, I mean, like, sure, all of the dragons, they deserve to be considered their own faction, but it just seems like they kind of got short shrift compared to some of the others that we've read about. But we're done. Another episode in the pipe, 5x5. Say it again, say it once, say it twice. Thank you, everyone. See you next time on Lore of Warcraft.